So some of you, most of you, were there when I did the status update at St. Victor's. I think it was 2017. And I think it was exciting and interesting, but I think afterwards the reaction was kind of like we had just been to a funeral. Some of you were thinking, well, that's really far away from my house, and I was hoping that it'd be closer to my house. Some of you were thinking, well, we just were in this beautiful church, which is such a nice church at St. Victor's with a beautiful organ, and now we're going to go to a shed. Others of you were just like not really grasping what it is to have a parish. And it's kind of hard to understand what a parish is until you actually have a parish, until you're experiencing it. So, well, that's really crooked. What is a parish? Well, you're kind of experiencing what the parish is today. We have Family Sunday today. And we have many things going on here at St. Vitus that really makes the parish come alive. We have Going Deeper talks when Leo's around. We have meditations on the Mass every Friday night. We have prayers that we pray, Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. We have groups that you can join. There are several Masses that you can come to on Sunday. Actually, I believe this is the only parish in the United States that has 2 Masses on a Sunday with a Spanish sermon. And if I'm not mistaken, we are the only parish in the world that has Vespers, solemn Vespers every Sunday. And if you ask anyone who knows anything about chant, they will probably tell you that it's near impossible to sing that well in a parish. And thanks to Jeff Ostrowski, we're doing the impossible. We're doing it really well. Last Lent, we had Father Berg come here and give a Lenten mission. You all remember it because it was really crowded. Everybody came, which was really nice. We also had a Women's Day of Recollection, which was great. It was pouring rain, and we were outside eating donuts in the rain. It was a great experience. We have the cemeteries, the Catholic mortuaries come, and they gave us a talk about what to do when you die. We had... some people don't really know what to do when they die. We had a tactical meeting with the ushers to teach them what to do in cases of emergency, which is really important. If someone pulls out a gun, what do you do? It turns out you give them a bottle of water. So, okay. That works. We've had processions. We've done a lot of things in the parish. We also have a lot of sacraments that have been given this past year. In the books, we have, missing the Mass attendance. Okay, I'm not doing so well by memory. The Mass attendance here is doing very, very well. When we were at St. Victor's, we were averaging about 170 people on a Sunday, which, granted, it was a 7 p.m. Mass, that's a very good attendance because people have to get to school the next day, people have to get to work the next day, the children have to get to bed at 8 o'clock, which doesn't work if the Mass is at 7. So the fact that we had 170 people was a very good attendance. Here, we started with between 250 and 300. That's where we started in our attendance here. We went from 3 Masses to 4 Masses, and once we added that 4th Mass, overnight, another 100 people came. So now we are averaging right around 500. Last Sunday we had 523. We're still trying to figure out how many people came today. There were over 200 people at the 9 a.m. Mass today. So The numbers are definitely positively increasing. That's an actual graph. That's not just a picture on the wall. In the books, we have, 32 baptisms. So in the office, there are registries for all your records of your sacraments that you receive. So far, in a little more than 1 year, we've had 32 baptisms, 28 First Communions, and we've had 3 marriages. That's not counting the marriage of Angelo the Buddhi, which took place in Italy. So things are doing well as far as that goes. We're going to have between 25 and 35 confirmations this year. So if you can make it, Bishop Ackland's going to be coming here on the 19th of May, and we'll probably have the tent out. And we're expecting about 25 to 35 youth that are going to be doing their confirmations on that day. So big class again. I'm going to hand it over to Father Masutti. He's going to tell us a bit about some other activities that are going on in the parish.
200 for the 9 o'clock. 200 people. And the RCIA preparation is for all of those who are catechumens and converts. Catechumens means those who have never been baptized. So they are going to receive the sacrament at the Easter Vigil. They will receive baptism, confirmation, and Holy Eucharist. And we have 12 people within those who are going to be baptized. I think there's only currently 2. And then all of the rest are people who are preparing to be received into the Catholic Church. They are what is called converts, those who are going to make a profession of faith, do a general confession, receive confirmation, and First Holy Communion. So we have 12 people, and they are coming every Wednesday at 7 p.m., and they have to come from the fall and goes all the way till the Easter Vigil in April, this year, April 12th, Easter. So we're very happy with that. I've been asking other people from other churches way bigger than ours to see how many converts and catechumens they have, and the numbers were not that different from ours. So I think that within 1 year to have 12 people is a wonderful thing. We just simply put it on the parish bulletin. There's going to be RCIA preparation at this time, and people came. And so that's a wonderful thing. And the other one is the Legion of Mary. The Legion of Mary is a group, as you know, one of the oldest groups in the church for the laity, founded in Ireland by Frank Duff. And the whole idea is to promote the spiritual works of mercy. That is the conversion, to teach catechism, and to be the right hand of the pastor in a parish. And we have one group of Legion of Mary, 6 members. It's in Spanish, and basically is to evangelize our neighborhood. So there is quite a number of people who are Catholics, as you know, many Catholics who are not going to Mass every Sunday, who are not practicing their faith. So the whole idea with the Legion of Mary is to do that. Formation, catechism, and to promote the spiritual works of mercy. So they are doing a wonderful job, going like other people do from other Protestant groups, that they go knocking on doors. And I went with them sometimes, knocking on doors, and just inviting people to confession, invite them to receive the sacraments. So that's one of the 2 things that we are doing here at St. Vitus. It has been only 1 year, so I think there is being a lot of progress. There are challenges, but also a lot of progress and blessings. So I just simply wanted to share with you those 2 things, and pray for all of those who are going to be receiving to the church at the Easter Vigil. They are doing a wonderful job. It's a sacrifice to come every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Many of them come from farther areas, west part of the town. And so that's a wonderful thing. So thank you. Thank you for all the work you do.
We come here because we want the traditional Mass. We love the Latin Mass. And it's very important to preserve the liturgy. But oftentimes, many parishes concentrate so much on that they don't think outside of the parish. And the idea with the Society of St. Vincent de Paul is, yes, we are striving to keep the traditions of the church, but we want to outreach in charity to help others that are in need. Maybe their needs are not necessarily that they need to have the Holy Mass, but they might have other needs that we can help them as well, while we are still preserving the Latin Mass, instead of just concentrating on the liturgy itself, but also being able to practice other works of charity. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul is going to help us tremendously with that. If you're interested in joining any of these groups, there are ways to figure it out when to join. When the Society of St. Vincent de Paul meets, you could come and join us and go from there. In 2012, a bunch of people, or a few people actually, went around the city of Los Angeles and asked for a petition, or had a petition, I should say, to ask the Archbishop for the Latin Mass, and particularly to ask the Archbishop that the Fraternity of St. Peter will come to Los Angeles. And they gathered 1,000 signatures. Now, a lot of these signatures were gathered in a I don't want to say Californian way, but basically it's like, hey, do you want to sign up for this? Yeah, let's sign up. And they signed up. So I remember one morning at San Felipe Chapel. That was way back when, maybe 10 people at the Mass. And someone came up to me after Mass and they said, you said there was a petition of 1,000 signatures. We're not seeing 1,000 people, Father. Well, there they are. We have 1,000 people on the app now. At this point, I want to invite Jeff up to tell us a bit about the choir.
The teaching of the church is that the liturgy is what the documents call an actio praecellenter sacra, a preeminently sacred action. And one of the theologians was writing about this. It's only 2 sentences, so I'll read it. Actio praecellenter sacra, that is a sacred action surpassing all others. In accordance with this clear statement of the Catholic teaching, therefore, one demand must be made of singing and music and liturgy as an integral part of worship. They must be holy. Sacred music is called for, which means in practice that it must be free from all that is profane, both in itself and in the manner of performance. And I would suggest to you that despite obstacles and difficulties, St. Vitus is taking seriously that teaching of the church. I would just point out, if you've been to other places, I've been to other places in the world, in the United States and so forth, and I'm not going to criticize what they're doing because they're doing the best they can and they don't have specialized training and they're dealing with a lot of obstacles, but they're very limited in what they do compared to what we do. Sometimes there's just 1 or 2 people getting through the propers, all of them and so forth, every Sunday, Mass 8. It's very limited what they're able to offer, okay? So we are starting to teach the people good quality hymns, plain song, descants, polyphony, canons, many, many things that no other parishes have even started or may not even know about because they don't pay the musicians, or it's just somebody that took a class 20 years ago or whatever. And so the object would be to start a lasting legacy It's been done before in this country. We want to start a lasting legacy where we have the people take with them melodies, no matter where they go. Maybe they have to move away from Los Angeles, but no matter where they go, they take these melodies with them. The hymns and the plain song and the polyphony and the medieval music that we do and all these things. So we've trained a lot of people, and we continue to train people. And some other time we have more time because we don't have time right now, but it's interesting to look at the people that have become really experts in sacred music. Really, really experts. And they may not have even known how to read music. One of my best choir members I actually grabbed after Mass at St. Victor's. It turns out, I didn't know this at the time, but it turns out that was the first time she'd ever been to a Latin Mass in her life. And then I was like, hey, you got to join the choir. And that was not what I was expecting at all. So we've started something good, and we'll continue, but we want to have a legacy, and we want to send away our people, as many as we can pack. We're already packed the gills, but we want to send everyone out with melodies, beautiful, quality, dignified melodies. And so that's what we've started. There were 4 men that I was training actually for the last couple months, and for whatever reason, those 4 men are not able to continue. One of them had a work situation. One of them had a financial situation. And so just to let you know, if you are a man who has not been interviewed and you wanted to sing, I could actually use 2 or 3 more men. And I hope that you will contact me, because we were working on these 4 gentlemen, and for whatever reason that fell through. So think about that. And finally, I think Father wanted me to talk about the symposium, which has been a great success. Y'all have been part of Father Luke Poirier and all the rest of those people who have come here. Magnificent things. Jordan's actually going to work on a video from last year. We're going to show some of the stuff that happened. But of course, it wasn't about videos. I hope you all realize that. We're working from 6 in the morning until past midnight every night. If we take some little videos, so be it, but it's not about the video. But it's nice sometimes to look at the videos, and we have a little bit of footage, but that wasn't the goal. So just so you know, the symposium's coming up again this year. We're working on getting the location for it. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I think you should know that a lot of people throughout the world actually want to come and present at this. One of the biggest problems I'm having is the amount of people that want to come conduct at St. Vitus. I am talking about the most prominent leaders of sacred music in the world. People who have 12, 13, 14 choirs at their parish. We have the head of the Archdiocese of St. Louis, the head of the Archdiocese of Boston, and you go down the list, and we can't have 10, 20, 30 people, the amount of people that want to come here. So that's a problem I never expected to have.
So the financial status. This is kind of where the good news comes in. First of all, I want to be clear that I understand that the money that you give to St. Vitus is your hard-earned money. It's not like you have loose cash laying around and you put it on the plate. I appreciate that, and I want you to know that. So we are trying to be as frugal as possible, respecting every dollar that you give, because we know that it doesn't come free, and that it is your hard work that gets those dollars to us. You have given freely. It's our obligation to make sure that we don't waste what you have given us. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the finances here. Let's talk about the debt, first of all. We had raised a bit of money before that first presentation that I gave at St. Victor's. To buy this property, we needed $1.2 million, and the diocese said they would give us a loan. However, we needed to raise $700,000 of that first. And thanks to some very generous benefactors that just were able to generate that kind of money, we were able to get that money and a little extra to be able to also renovate the church and the diocese did give us a loan. They were kind of slow in setting up the loan payments, but they finally set up the loan payments in January of last year. And by that time, we had already paid about $800,000 worth of that $1.2 million already. People were still very generous with their donations. So in May, we were able to put another lump payment of $100,000 there. And then, of course, when they set up the loan payments, I got a phone call from Mr. Randy Steiner. He is the chief financial officer of the diocese. A lot of people are afraid of him. And he called me up. He and I get along quite well. He called me up and he said, Father Fryar, would you be able to make payments of $7,000 a month on your debt? And I said, yes, we'll do what we can. And he said, that's what I want to hear. So we've been making monthly payments of about $7,000 a month. And so thanks be to God, by December, we were able to pay off half of whatever was left over. So thank you for your generosity with that. However, at the end of last year, you were all extremely generous. And we have $300,000 in the building fund, which means that we paid off the debt. Not only did we pay off the debt, but we paid it off in 1 year. So I want to thank you all sincerely for your generous donations for this. Truth be said, since we moved in here, I have not been pushing money. If I remember correctly, I don't think you've heard me speak once from the pulpit about money. It's just been your donations that have helped pay this off in 1 year. So first of all, I want to thank all of you for this. However, there are three groups of people that I want to particularly thank. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I'm extremely grateful to all of you. But there are three groups of people that I want to particularly thank. The first group are those who gave generously, that gave a lot of money when we needed a lot of money. If it wasn't for these people, we wouldn't have St. Vitus right now because the diocese was asking me to cough up hundreds of thousands of dollars over weekends. So if it wasn't for these generous people, we wouldn't be here right now. So I want to thank them. The second group of people that I want to thank would be those who gave sacrificially. Now, maybe they didn't give a lot as far as money goes, but they gave everything they had. And there are a few of you here today that gave everything you have. And why did you do that? Because you believe in St. Vitus. You believe in the Fraternity of St. Peter in Los Angeles. You know that this is going to be the church that will save the souls of your grandchildren. And you believe that this will be a reality and you're going to make this happen. So you have sacrificed far beyond what you should have given because you want to give everything to make this a reality. So I want to thank those of you as well. And the third category of people that I want to thank are those who participated or continue to participate, because some are still making payments, in what we call the Founders Campaign. Now, the Founders Campaign is a very special campaign that we did here in Los Angeles for our new church. The whole concept of a founder is kind of like St. Junipero Serra, who leaves the comfort of his home there in Europe, and he travels across the sea, lands in a field, and there's nothing here. There's no running water. There's no electricity. There's no, store where you can buy milk. There's nothing of that. And he started from scratch. That's kind of what the founders did. As I said in the brochures, you give everything you have so that future generations can have everything. Those who participated in the Founders Campaign made pledges, sizable pledges that they were willing to pay over the period of 5 years without knowing where the church would be. That was the key to this campaign. So it wasn't like you were giving yourself a convenience by making these donations. You were doing these donations for the city of Los Angeles, to provide a church for the city of Los Angeles. So there took quite a bit of sacrifice to do this, and I want to thank those of you of the Founders Campaign. So you're going to start seeing a thermometer now. And it's going to start with $30,000 because that's what's left over in the building fund after we have paid off the debt. And this thermometer needs to get up to $2 million. And then we will be able to see what are out there. As I said in that previous meeting there at St. Victor's, this is a stepping stone church. We're not supposed to be here permanently. We are here until we can raise up enough money to buy a larger church that will be our permanent home. And the nice thing about having paid this off is that this is now equity towards that future church, so that we can sell this and put the money that we have invested in this into that church that we are, that God willing we will get. Briefly also, I want to talk about expenses and the collection. So our monthly expenses are about $20,000 to $25,000 a month. Like I mentioned before, we are trying to be extremely frugal with your money. I don't really want to put these people on the spot, but I'm going to. So first of all, I want to thank Joanne Pulley. And I want to thank Christy Kwan. And also I want to thank Renee Widman, wherever he is. Now the reason why I want to thank these three, in particular the two ladies, is because they are doing our secretarial work. They are replacing a $50,000, $60,000 salary of someone who would come and work in the office for us. They are doing their time every week to do that work so that we don't have to be paying for that. So thank you very much for that. You all know Adam Varavadeka. He is not with us today. He is in Chicago right now. He is doing our bookkeeping for us, so we don't have to pay an accountant. And to put more people on the spot, where is he? The guy we are celebrating today, Richard. Richard. Richard, after a long day of work, Richard shows up here at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he starts working. He starts doing stuff around the house, around the church, painting maybe, fixing a cabinet, doing all sorts of maintenance work. So thanks to Richard, we're getting a lot of the maintenance stuff done so we don't have to pay a maintenance person. and also Andres Rodriguez and Gerardo Rodriguez. They arguably live the furthest away from the church. However, they come here very often to work on maintenance stuff. They've been working very hard on getting the kneelers finished for us in spite of all the other work that they have to do to take care of their families, to get some food on the table. So they also help a lot with the maintenance. So thank you very much. So between all these people that are volunteering like this, we are saving something like $200,000 a year on salaries. Now, so we are able to run this parish in a very frugal manner. The average collection on the average month is about $30,000. Now, if you get at this point in any presentation in most other parishes, you're going to see a negative number there. They're going to tell you our expenses are $20,000 and we're only bringing in 15. However, I'm here to tell you today that you people are keeping this place afloat. Thank you. We're running in the black, which is excellent. Good news about the finances all over. I'm going to hand it over to Brother Mark now. He's going to tell us about possibilities of looking into the future.
We have, there's a church that we've been looking to 2 miles away. Humongous. It is a Protestant church listed at $4.5 million. The sanctuary is about a little over 10,000 square feet, 2 floors, and which roughly fits around 600 to 700 people, parishioners. There's a hall. Classrooms and plenty of parking. It's also gated. The second church we found is one in North Hollywood, and it's 9.5 miles away from here, 2.4 miles from the Burbank airport, and that's listed at approximately $4 million. It's over 15,000 square feet. There's a school, a hall, and plenty of parking. But most importantly, this property in North Hollywood, it has a house for the priests. So correct me if I'm wrong, because that's good, because that will establish it will be a canonical house, so the fraternity will be established in the Archdiocese, and it will be hard to get them out. Mercy. Mercy.
In my last presentation at St. Victor's, I told you all this would be a stepping stone church. And it is. It's supposed to be here and then wherever our final destination is going to be. To be clear, we're not going to move far away from here. Yes, we are looking for a bigger church that we can all fit in, but it would have to be somewhere very close to here. We're not looking further away in the city. But rather than calling this a stepping stone church, I'd like to call it something more like a seed. Because we're crowded in here like the essence of a seed on a Sunday, but we have everything that we need to be a parish. And the moment that we get a bigger church, we're really going to boom. If we got 100 people overnight because we added another Mass, I don't doubt that if we get a church of 700 seats, we'll fill that up in a week, and we'll continue growing from there. The good news is that the rate that you are helping financially here at St. Vitus, I can almost guarantee you that we will be in a bigger church within 5 years. Well, thank you all, and thank you all for your generosity of making this happen. Thank you. I hope you all stay for Vespers, but if you kneel down, I can give you all a blessing. Benedictio Dei omnipotentius, Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, descendet super vos et manet semper.
Amen.
Thank you.